So this is our progress check 3, kind of like the final part of the project. So you want to do this part after your entire half of your image is covered in your geometric shapes. But because this is just what's left over for my demos, I'm just going to use what I have here to show you guys the next process. But again, you want to make sure everything is covered in your geometric shapes before you move on to this next part. Otherwise, it's not going to be symmetrical if you try and go in and fill it in after the fact. So I am going to make sure that my geometric shape layer and my image layer is highlighted over here in my layers panel. And I'm going to right click. And I want to, copy the layer. Duplicate layer. Sorry, took me a second to find duplicate layer right here. So I'm just basically making a copy. It's going to come up as a copy here, but you're just clicking on duplicate. So I've duplicated my layer. So I have my Fox and then I have my Fox copy here. So this layer is sitting directly on top of my other original layer. So with this new one selected and highlighted in my layers panel, I'm going to come over here to edit, down to transform, and I want to flip this horizontally. So now that I've flipped it horizontally across this middle line here, I'm just going to move it and push it into place. So I came up here to this move tool and I'm clicking on it and I'm just dragging it right into place so that there's no little gap in between. And you can use your controls for this. So my little arrows on my keyboard to get it perfectly in place. Once you are done with that, you're going to want to change your background color. So I don't know why I like to do this, but I just like to create a new layer instead of messing with the background layer. So I have a new layer here, and then you are just going to find a color that you want to use for your background color, and then paint bucket that in. And again, your paint bucket tool is over here within your gradient tool. So if you click and hold, paint bucket comes up here. You might consider using your eyedropper tool and finding some sort of tone from within your image to use, just to kind of tie everything together so your background's not like completely different than everything else going on. But you don't have to do that, but you do want to try and find a color that works for your background. So something that just kind of makes sense, but doesn't blend in too much. Like I wouldn't want to pick an orange for this background because then that would kind of get rid of a lot of or distract from the details I have, since my Fox is an orangey red tone. So just be careful about what color you're going to choose for your background color. Make sure it makes sense. And once you've done that, you're going to come up here to File, and you are going to save it as both the PSD and the JPEG file to submit.